Hurrah! I always feel like I should be Alan Partridge when that finishes. And I've got, hello, everyone. Welcome to our live stream. I'm Alan from Yellow Tuxedo. We have got Yann Ilunga here and Adam Carley from Touchskye Designs. And Yann is from yannilunga.com. We are here today as these guys are two of our most fabulous speakers that we've got at the Digital Circus Live, which we're going to be mentioning loads of times. That's on the 18th of May this year. Tickets on sale now, but we're so excited. We couldn't wait for the 18th of May. So between now and then, we're going to be bringing you some of the speakers. They're going to be sharing their amazingness with you, all telling you a bit about them. And yeah, that's what we are doing for the next 15 minutes. So let's get on with introductions. Let's start with Yann, actually. Yann, tell us all about yourself, who you are, what your specialist topic is, and if we were playing top trumps and you were a card on top trumps, what would be your 10 out of 10?
That's luckily you asked me the final words, because when you mentioned the game, I was like, if I were what?
As I said it, I did wonder actually, and I thought, no, I'm going to go with it anyway.
Jokes aside, hi everybody. My name is Yann Ilunga. I'm actually joining you from Helsinki, Finland. I'm originally from the Italian-speaking part of Switzerland. That's why I have this funny macaroni accent. I'm a consultant in the space of podcasting, in the space of lead generation. I've been podcasting since 2014. To date, I've published over 400 episodes for different shows. Most of those episodes have been interviews. I've interviewed Grammy Award-winning artists, New York Times bestselling authors, top entrepreneurs, academics. And if I were to mention my superpower, I would say podcasting. Podcasting has opened so many doors for my business, so I definitely would have to mention that.
Brilliant. And I have to say, Yann, before we ask Adam to introduce himself as well, you put this post up on LinkedIn, I think it was yesterday or the day before, and you wrote, being a podcasting guest should be on everyone's business marketing strategy. And I was like, thank goodness, just seeing it written down like that, it was clear as day. And it's like, yes, it should be. And I can't wait for you to share a bit more with that. Share that a bit more of that with us in a second. Adam, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Sure thing. Cheers, Alan. Hi, Yann. Welcome, everyone. My name's Adam. I run Touchskye Designs. I'm a creative consultant. I've been running this for the last few years now. I help businesses, individuals, and organizations with all their sort of creative needs, as it were, and solve their business problems creatively. Thank you very much for having me, Alan. I'm glad to be here.
Oh, I love you guys. You're fantastic. And if you are watching live, I know there's a few of you watching, please do introduce yourself in the chat, get involved, ask questions, let us know who you are. Do you have a macaroni accent like Yann's, as he said? And is anyone more diverse than Yann is watching right now? Because that would be interesting to see. Is anyone else from Switzerland to Helsinki or further afar? As we are waiting for people to jump in and comment and like and show some love and all the rest of it, guys, let's start talking about kind of podcasting and visual marketing and using it for business growth. I know you guys were on Clubhouse a couple of hours ago with Emily. Would love you to just kind of take us through what you were talking about for that, and the relevance to the growth side of business, because that's what the topic is here.
Adam, would you like to take it? Oh, okay, sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was fun to be on Clubhouse. And I mean, we covered a lot of ground, but I would say the Reader's Digest version of the few things I said. The first one is that it's important to really have a clear goal for the podcast. And if you have a business related to the podcast, if you have a business and the podcast is connected to the business, then you want to make sure that the podcast is actually connected as much as possible to the business. I made the example of choosing the format for a show, for example. I have leveraged different formats, and I've always had a very specific reason for picking, let's say, an interview-based podcast over a solo podcast. For example, when I started out with my second podcast, which was called the 360 Entrepreneur, and it was my first business podcast, I chose the interview-based format for a very specific reason, is because the goal of that podcast was to grow the network of my professional contacts. So I wanted to make sure that each episode I published was an opportunity, or even before it was published, when it was produced, when it was recorded, was an opportunity for me to connect with somebody I wanted to be connected with business-wise. And with some of those people, I ended up collaborating. Some people spoke at my virtual summit, for example. With some other, we did some joint webinars, some joint ventures, and things like that. So I would say the first thing is to make sure that you have clear goals and a clear strategy behind your podcast or even audio content more in general. And then the other thing I would add is that you want to make sure that you look at your audio content or your podcast content, its goals, its strategies, and then you look at the macro dimension, meaning content marketing. What are your goals? What is your content marketing strategy? And you do the same for your business. And ideally, you want these three segments, so your audio content, the content marketing strategy, and your business, to be as connected and aligned as possible.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I mean, I think that's why you're at the Digital Circus Live, Yann. We're so singing on the same hymn sheet. It's unbelievable. We have a question. Is that all right if I pop the question up?
Absolutely. Are we allowed to say no? No, I'm kidding. Absolutely.
Of course you can. I'll tell, Laurie, I can email her on the slide. Laurie has put, do you think it's detrimental to mix up solo and interview podcasts on a channel?
Great question, Laurie. Absolutely not. In fact, I have used what I call the hybrid approach for one of my podcasts called the Podcast Lab. I would say that it's important for you to be quite strategic with it, meaning listeners have to know what to expect. So for example, let's say you publish twice a week. You could say, okay, the Tuesday episodes are interviews and the Thursday episodes are solo episodes. Or you say, I publish once a week. The last episode of a month, it's always an interview or it's always a solo episode. I think it's important so that people know what to expect. But absolutely, you can definitely frame the mixing in a way of formats in a way that makes sense. So for example, for me, the reason why I opted for that approach is I initially wanted to host a solo show to really showcase my expertise and get hired as a podcasting consultant. And I said, I want to be in the spotlight. So I'm just going to showcase my expertise. However, I'm also, I dare to say, smart enough to know that other people's contribution can add more diversity to the conversation. And that's why I still decided to include some expert contributions. However, because I wanted to do something different, I didn't do interviews like a regular podcast, but I sent them basically the questions and I just pasted their audio answers as a sort of collage into an episode. But absolutely, it is possible to mix different formats. You may even want to say, I do solo, I do one-on-one interviews, and I do panels of discussions. You can be really creative with that. It's just important that there is some logic behind it. It may be clear to you, but it's important that you try to communicate it in a way that is clear for listeners so that you can build some expectations.
Brilliant. Thank you, Yann. Laurie has just responded, which I'll flash up. I like that idea to make the scheduling known and expected. Thank you for your advice. And I have to say, I'd never thought about that either. I mean, fully aligned on macro content, fully aligned in the collaboration potential and everything else. But the idea of asking them to record the answers and then almost recording a podcast where you paste that audio in, I think that was... I think that's fantastic. That's why you're a unicorn level podcasting expert. Yeah.
Sorry, Alan, may I just drop a quick tool in there that can actually make that happen in a very easy way?
Yeah, of course.
Perfect. There is a platform or a site called Speakpipe.com. That's what I used, Speakpipe. It enables you to add a button on your website and you can have people simply click on the button, record an audio message and send it to you, and you'll receive the email with the notification. You can download it. So from a logistical standpoint, it's actually a very easy thing to do. I had it on a web page where I had some instructions on how to use it. But if you're looking for a way to make it happen remotely and easily, speakpipe.com, it's what I would recommend and I've used myself.
Cool. Thank you, Yann. Thank you. That is amazing. We always love a handy hint here. It helps us all keep going, doesn't it? Keep growing and going. Adam, what about you? How was the Clubhouse from your perspective? Was there a major focus in because you're the visual marketing, you're not quite unicorn level, but I did describe you as Jedi Master earlier today.
Gladly take Jedi Master. That definitely sits well with me. Yeah, I found the Clubhouse useful. I found it good as well to listen to other people's perspectives and things like that. I think there needs to be and then also Yann might agree with that, there needs to be that perfect balance between using the audio sort of technique compared to that visual side of things as well when you're trying to market to your audience. That's the real key here, is making sure that you've got them in synergy and in a balance as well. And not only a balance that works well for you, but works well for your audience as well, to make sure you get that messaging across. I think that's really key. And that's what I sort of got out of it as well. It reaffirms that belief of mine.
That's cool. Actually, I have a question. So when we're working with our clients and we're working on YouTube and we're talking about Pinterest and we're talking about social media in its broader sense, and we talk about visual artwork, we are always talking about that click-through rate and how that cover image is, in YouTube's case, the most important thing. You know, after ranking for your keyword, the cover art is the second most important thing and arguably first. What about when searching for podcasts? What about when getting that organic traction to a podcast? How important is the cover art there, or is it more text-based? I'd be curious to know what you guys think about that. I'll start with Adam this time.
I think it's really, really key to make sure that whatever messaging you're using is going to be easily searchable and easily identifiable as well. So when they do land on the results, they're going to pick out your podcast in particular over others. More often than not, it's quite often that a lot of podcasts have similar names or similar topics and things like that. And it's really key that you make sure you have that title or that podcast name written well that's going to stand out and be unique. The imagery is also important as well. If it's going to be a particular business-based sort of podcast, you need to make sure that business is reflected within that imagery and within that artwork. Or if it's going to be some sort of solution for people as well, to sort of convey that on there. And the most important thing is as well, it's going to be something that's going to be bright and that stands out. So if you do have typography on that artwork, there's a clear identification of what is said on there using nice big display typeface rather than sort of handwritten and things like that, or typeface that's too small. Using a nice big block display typeface will help with bright, colorful images. It's really key, because before they even listen, they're going to see that first, and you've got to hook them on that point before anything else.
Yeah, no, agreed. And we work with that, chipping in, and you guys are the experts here right now, but just chipping in from when we're talking about our omni-channel approach at Yellow Tuxedo, it's so important that wherever they enter your ecosystem, wherever their next step in their adventure in your ecosystem is, it has to feel the same. So ensuring that that branding is consistent across every platform, especially kind of when a first entry like a podcast is super important. What about you, Yann? When you're working with people and you're consulting with them, how much emphasis do you put in the visuals? I appreciate Adam's the visuals expert, but out of curiosity, to accompany the podcast you're helping them create?
Yes, absolutely. I think when it comes to optimizing, because everybody wants to have more views, more listeners, more clicks and whatever. I think when it comes to optimizing one's podcast, it's important to optimize it from two perspectives. The first one is for the platforms. So you want to make sure that your show name has keywords people are using in their searches, that your episodes include the keywords and so forth. And obviously the artwork goes in that direction as well. So as Adam said, you want to make sure that it's something that really stands out, and that if you have text on it, that it's clearly visible and readable. An easy way to do a test to make sure that that's the case, I see it in my own online community. People often ask, what do you think about this artwork or that artwork? And I say, well, the text is actually already hard to read right now. I can imagine when the artwork is actually in the real size that you find on podcasting platforms. The way to find out whether your artwork stands out, the text is readable, it's very simple. Simply head over to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever platform you use with your computer. Have a section where you see the different artworks. take a screenshot, then head over to canva.com, upload the screenshot there, and apply your artwork or the different versions of your artwork as to replace one of those artworks. What does it look like? Does it just blend in with the other ones, or does it stand out? If it stands out, terrific. What about the text? If you have some text on it, is the font you chose readable? Does it look messy? Is it hard to read? So that's the first dimension, optimize for the platform. The second dimension is optimize for users. True, the artwork goes more in the direction of optimizing for users, and so does the title of your podcast. While having a keyword is great for the platform itself, you want to also have titles that captivate somebody's attention. So if they scroll through different podcasts to different episodes, or even through your own podcast episode lists, you want to make sure that you have titles that really make them go like, oh, wow, I really want to learn more about such and such topic. So when you want to optimize your podcast, I think it's very important that you think about the platform, you think about optimizing in terms of keywords, but you also think about the users, artwork that stands out, episode titles and description that are really captivating and get somebody's attention and want them to click play.
Yeah, no, yes, absolutely. We say, Yann, so first rule of sales, don't shop for yourself, right? Unless you're checking cover art. So if we've got people we're working with YouTube on, we say, type in your keyword, see what pops up, which one's standing out, would yours stand out from the crowd amongst it, would you be able to read it, etc., etc. Absolutely, you have to. It's about the only time you can actually have a look and kind of go, what's appealing to me from this cover art. But Adam, when we're going back to the visuals, which is obviously your Jedi Master kind of mind trick here, is there anything we can be doing with our visuals to really be standing out from the crowd, be hooking in? You know, I'm thinking of like, is there a clickbait title, whether you love it or hate it, of the visual world?
In regards to a clickbait title, it really is depending on the subject or the type of podcast. But I think it's really important nowadays, and some people are somewhat against this, but you do want to trigger people. Not in a harmful way or a negative way, but you want to trigger people's emotions. You want to trigger people to click on it. It's almost a point of triggering a conversation. If you're having a conversation among people and you say something that triggers the flow of that conversation to get people to pipe up and to talk about it more, that's what you want to do with actual written copy. In regards to actual visuals and things like that, bright colors. More often than not, people are looking at it on a screen than it is on print, so you're going to be focusing on colors that stand out well, that are RGB. So highly saturated colors are going to be useful for you. So making sure you've got something that aligns with your branding, but also stands out at the same time. It's one of those things where dull sort of pastel colors and things like that, washed out looks, high complex graphics and things like that aren't going to work. You really want to have something that is good for contrast, something that stands out. Those are the things to focus on. And also, kind of similar to what Yann was saying as well, in creating a mock-up to see if it works, is that scalability thing. You're working on people using different types of phones and stuff like that, and tablets and all that sort of thing. There's something which is known as the bottle cap test, essentially, and it's often used for logos. Would you be able to recognize your logo on a bottle cap amongst everything else? And I think it's really important to use that kind of theory in the sense of your little screen, essentially, or your little caption window of what it is. As you're scrolling through, does it stand out quick enough at that kind of size? Is it big enough to stand out and capture people's attentions? So those are things that I would definitely think about focusing on, especially from a visual point of view. Is it going to stand out in size? Is it bright enough? And also the clarity of the text as well. Is it legible? You can go, I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but there are accessibility guides to make sure that things are actually legible and readable for different audiences as well. And YouTube and various other podcast services have that capability of allowing you to see what's compatible.
Cool. Thank you very much. Right, guys, if it's okay with you, I'm going to slowly wrap up. We only wanted to do 15 minutes after on this, and we're already about to hit 20, which I think, Yann, you predicted already. So I'm going to do a little bit. So who did we have coming in? So Artemis said hi. Where's Artemis? She said hi. Hey, Artemis, thank you for watching. Vaishali said hi. Vaishali is also going to be one of our main keynote speakers at the Digital Circus Live. Vaishali is going to be talking about branding and culture and how important that is and how they can work together. Laurie was in. Laurie says thank you for her advice. She says great visual tips, Adam. Thank you. And another one from Laurie. Makes great sense, Adam, about attention grabbing visuals across devices. Alan gave me great advice on to increase the point size of my YouTube artwork to have greater impact. Yeah, always a pleasure, Laurie. Always a pleasure. On that, I am literally going to flash up some Digital Circus stuff. So tickets are on sale now, everyone. 18th of May. We have 6 main stage keynote speakers, including Yann and Vaishali, who I mentioned a moment ago. We have 10 workshops throughout the day designed to show you how to be growing your business digitally and online. So it's very exciting, including the amazing Adam from Touchskye, who's sat here right now having a drink, the Jedi master of visuals, and Yann, the unicorn level master of podcasting, are going to be there. And most excitingly, everyone, tickets are £35 for an entire day of digital learning for you and your business. And not only that, every session is going to be available on replay. So after the event, they will all be uploaded to YouTube, and those links will be sent out to you, so you can watch back anything you may have missed, and you can then watch back anything you did watch and wanted to repeat, because it was so amazing, because all of our speakers are pretty fantastic, and that's why we've asked them to be involved. Any final words from you guys? Who's first? Adam, do you want to go first? Do you want to say thank you or goodbye? Well, I kind of just loaded it on you. I'm sorry. I apologize. Oh, we can't hear you.
It's going to be absolutely fantastic being part of the Digital Circus Live. I'm really looking forward to the day, and more importantly, I'm looking forward to solving problems that people are having with their business. I think this is a really crucial time where we can all sort of start up our lives again, and I've got some very good actionable advice and tips that will help your business succeed.
Brilliant. Thank you, Adam. And Yann, any parting words from you today before we say goodbye to everyone?
Yeah, I sure do. I want to say, well, first of all, thank you. This was fun. Clubhouse earlier was fun. I would just like to invite everybody to really make the most out of the Digital Circus Live, not only by actually attending, watching, and rewatching. Don't forget to get your ticket on May 18th. But I would also encourage you to start already now, because I know the conversation has been ongoing. I know, for example, on LinkedIn, there is the event. Obviously, there is the website. So I would encourage people to actually, for example, if you're using LinkedIn, and I'm pretty sure you are, to just look for the event on LinkedIn, connect with everybody there. I know I've been doing that. I've connected with fellow speakers. I've connected with attendees. And it's always great because you get to get the conversation going before all the circus bonanza, which is going to be terrific. So I would encourage everybody to really take advantage of this opportunity, not only to learn, but also to grow your network. And by doing that right now, meaning connecting with those, are going to be attending, speaking, and last but not least, organizing in Alan and Emily of Yellow Tuxedo.
And guys, that is why we have Yann at the Digital Circus Live, because he is actually talking about our event better than we are right now. So thank you, Yann. But yeah, I have to say, it's very British to not kind of we don't like getting publicly excited, so it's something we have to kind of break down. But I agree, do add the speakers, send them a message on LinkedIn. Never connect in LinkedIn without sending a message. Send a message, follow them. Adam and Yann's contact details are in the description below, so you can click and find out more about them both. Adam's a bit more on Instagram, Yann's a bit more on Twitter. Both of their LinkedIn's are there, and both of their websites are there. So yeah, get in contact with them and tell us what you want to know. What questions are you hoping to ask? Do you have any visual dilemmas that you'd like Adam to answer specifically, and any podcasting questions that Yann needs to make sure he includes as well? So on that note, thank you both so much for joining me this evening. And for those who are watching, we've got 4 weeks of this. We've got majority of the workshop hosts and speakers coming on lives. We've got myself and Emily doing lives. So we are going to be everywhere. And if you've got any questions, get in contact. And if you haven't got your ticket yet, go and buy it, thedigitalcircus.co.uk. We will see you soon. Thanks, guys. Bye. I love a Zoom wave. I have to do a Zoom wave. Bye.
Cheers, guys.
Take it easy.